Love you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
And welcome to Justice Serve TV. Hold on. Oh, I missed. Hold on.
You missed. What did you
Got it.
just do there? Because I have to turn you off. You're in stereophonic here. I'm like,
These are hot tamales. Whoops.
your hot tamales. Well, I'm sorry.
They
I
feel
almost
good.
didn't make it because I was out there practicing. You know what this weekend is? I think about
Are
this
you
last
place
night.
kicking? What are you
Well,
doing?
you know what I was thinking about this last night because I rushed. I was, oh my God, there's a football game on. Of course, those jurors came in. There was a football game that was starting at 8:15 at night.
right.
All right, the season opener. When they came in and said guilty, 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 they had enough time to just
had to
get
go.
home and get. And
Let's
because it's
see.
mostly male jury, although you know me and football. So I was out there practicing. So I decided to get dressed up because it was Friday night with my little Jets shirt. The only thing I won't show you. Here's a problem. There's problems.
Yeah.
I have, and it may be okay because we're going to be talking about graveyards. I have, see that Rogers, right? I have a whole stack. Well, I have a whole stack of graveyard Jets shirts and jerseys. Okay. All right. So I thought that the whole graveyard theme would go into, purposely into this because I think that yesterday somebody is going to die in prison when she gets finally sentenced.
Yeah, and whether it's got her own hand or not, who knows? She is on suicide watch. Of course, we're talking about Donna Adelson, guilty, and the reaction was pretty strong. Most people think it was because she felt sorry for herself, that she was just smacked in the face with the reality that they got her.
Right.
So what we're going to do tonight is
we're going to talk about that because maybe when that clip, she's pissed off that she didn't testify. There's a lot of things going on there.
So we're going to have this. We've already posted, of course, as a lot of folks have.
Is Michael going in and out? Or is that just me? Is Michael going in and out for everybody, or is that just me? Yeah, is that for everybody, or is it just me that Michael's sound is going in and out? Hi, Dallas, Alice. Yes, you're going in and out.
Yes, going in and out. Let me pinch this thing and see if it does any good. How about that? Am I still going in and out? In and out?
No, you're fine right there.
1, 2, 3,
I see all of you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, God,
3, 2,
I'm glad
1,
you're all.
3, 2, 1.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. I'm glad you're all hanging out with us on a Friday night.
I told you I've been nursing this microphone, and it may have come to.
Well, I think you should get one of these. These were. It was like $17. We paid $200 for those two.
So now I'm not hearing
microphones.
you. That's very interesting. Okay, are you hearing? Am I going in and out still or not?
No, you're not going in and out, right?
No, okay, then I'm not going to touch that anymore. I made a fine-tuned adjustment to the piece of tape I have holding it in place. I think I've yanked it out of the computer so much traveling and all of that the connector is a little shaky. So I may just toss this microphone in the garbage. Anyway, so
you're all talking about where you're going to hang out. Well, please hang out with us at 6:00 at night, and we also have a lot of things coming up. We'll talk about. I mean,
this is going to be an interesting kind of compilation show where obviously we're going to talk about last night. I mean, the verdict came down 23 hours ago. And after 3 hours, 15 minutes of deliberation. And so there's that little snippet of her reaction to the verdict, which, like the Zapruder film, we're going to try and play it a number of times, get your feeling. I know she says, oh my God, a bunch of times, but there's something else in there that I have not been able to figure out. And absent the services of Sweater Vest from this trial, the guy that was able to pull the Charlie Adelson conversation kind of out of the restaurant video, the Dolce Vita restaurant video, we don't have those skills or tools, but you may be able to pick up something that we aren't. So we're going to run that a few times. We also have Georgia Kappelman's post and the Markell family. They spoke not just as victim impact statement presenters, but they spoke as they stepped outside the courtroom. So we'll have that and we'll go through that. So kind of a post-mortem, as it were, on that. And then we'll talk about some of the stuff we have in the works coming up and that kind of thing.
and that kind of thing. And welcome everybody. Welcome for hanging out with us. Right, as I said, and by the way, I did run to go watch the football game after we finished. Joey Kane gifting another Justice Serve TV membership.
Joey,
which reminds us, thank you, Joe. Which reminds us that you gotta hit that subscribe, share, like, and notify button. If you're not subscribed, you don't get a chance to get one of those free memberships that are so graciously given by funds by other people, so that you could become a member of Justice Serve TV. And it randomly assigns them. We have nothing to do with them, but the only thing you have a lot to do with it, because if you're not a subscriber, of which, thank you, by the way, we picked up about 300 or 400 of them, 300, 400 new subscribers recently. You're not a subscriber, you won't have it. But it's people like Joey Kane who gives us that. And look at this. So this is like an auction going on here. Joy Schmayar, thank you, Joy, gifted 10 Justice Serve TV memberships.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm gonna donate 11. No.
You already do. You already do. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's going to go to 10 different people, 11 different people tonight already. Should be getting them, and usually what we see is the thank yous for the people that have donated that, because they're very they're expensive for people. Some people can't afford $3 a month. It's you have a lot of household bills, gas, everything.
It's amazing. It's always something. Every little thing, it just adds up. I just got noticed that Justice Serve TV is live, so I must be subscribing.
Then we'll start getting viewers, and that's why sometimes we do this little banter back and forth, because a lot of people don't even get noticed. By the way, I get noticed sometimes if I'm on my computer, sometimes I'll get it on my cell phone. Every once in a while I don't get it at all, or it comes late, and it takes a few minutes for people to come in. So thank you all for the love of the show. We have a lot of people put work into this.
After your telethon from the other day, was that Wednesday? I think it was just the day before yesterday, right?
Yes, right. We were trying to get to 20.
We were going to 26,000, and we were like 15 away. Well, since that time, we're now almost 600 above 26,000.
Thank you all. So maybe I have to do a telethon to subscribe.
It was funny. We got a lot of with YouTube. As much as I piss and moan about them, we're captive. They have amazing analytics, and so you can go into each little posting and see how many subs directly related to watching that. And the one that we reposted of Georgia Kappelman's cross-examination of the expert, Ms. Bailey.
Unfortunately, her first name was Linda. That's so unfortunate.
I have never called her that. I always called her Ms. Bailey.
Good, thank you.
So there you go. Yeah. So that thing kind of blew up, at least for us. In our world, it's beyond 40-some thousand, maybe pushing 50,000 views, and we got a bunch of subs from that. So we appreciate that. You never know what's going to resonate. We try to ferret out from whatever we're doing, whatever we're watching, whatever we're covering, the things that we think might, resonate. You never know. Sometimes we're dead wrong. So anyway, we got a grab bag from that one. So
and thank you, Joyce Schmayhar. My membership was gifted. Just wanted to pass it on and pay it forward. Thank you so much. I went out to take a walk because, as you know, we were on for 11 hours, 53 minutes, and 16 seconds yesterday, because we had to be off by 12 hours. And then you posted that because YouTube will not take over a 12-hour posting.
We didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
At the time, we were blaming StreamYard. We're like, what? StreamYard won't let us do that? No, it's YouTube. And I guess, I don't know, we probably should have tested it just to see if they just flip the switch.
No,
you're done. Or does it just mean they won't post it or repost it? I don't know what
they won't put it on. It's whatever it is. But
we're on live. We're on live, so it's not like they can erase us.
Yeah, so they can. They can erase our thing.
They just take 12 hours out of our life. They put us back 12 hours. So at that 12 hours, I'm guessing.
Haven't you ever seen The Matrix? Come on, YouTube is like The Matrix.
In fact, with some of the things that Stephen Everett, the Honorable Stephen Everett, said as he's talking to, especially when he was talking to Donna Adelson and pressuring her to make a decision, I thought he was the guy from Matrix, the blue or the red. The blue pill or the red pill. She had to make a decision, and he sounded very dramatic about that whole thing. Ultimately, you must make a decision.
They didn't have
the blue pill or the red pill.
Well, they didn't have a green pill. So what I thought I'd do, because I've seen a lot of people really make fun of Donna, right? So in honor of this,
does she have a lot of makeup on or a lot of lipstick
Somebody's
on?
posting a picture of a lot of makeup. So I'm going to put on.
Is that black?
I've never seen that. It's green.
Or is it green? Okay.
Green is for the Jets.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay.
We'll
I'm looking at her now. I mean, looks pretty makeup free in this, the verdict moment. So what should we start with, the verdict moment, or let's listen to Georgia and the
Let's start with the verdict moment, because I want to talk about a couple things with their defense team regarding that verdict. If you want me to keep this on, everybody, just let me know. If not, I'll take it off. But I'm wearing green. I don't know. That's how you look when you're decomposed, I guess, which Donna is on her way to doing.
Where did I put that?
The verdict. We actually have two. We have an audio and we have a video.
Yeah,
I sent you.
I pulled it. I pulled it. I'm just looking for it now.
Okay, so I wonder what happens if you mix pink or red with green. What do you think has happened? This get worse.
Now, here's the question, because every time I do this, there's a difference between sharing a screen and sharing a video. So since we're going to run this a bunch of times, if the audio is not there, it's only 13 seconds. So if there's no audio this first time, let me know, and I'll make sure we get it.
No audio.
No audio. Okay.
No, you have to share the video.
Okay. So let me re-rack that, baby.
But actually, let's watch it with no audio. I want to point out something first. I want to point out something when you watch it with no audio.
Okay, here we go.
If you can get that little thing out of the way, yeah. Now watch. Now watch her right hand. Watch her right hand and her. Oh, you can't see it there. There it is. There we go.
Well, she's got her. She's cuffed.
Yeah, but she's cuffed. But she is angry. That is, if you look at her face there, you can replay that without the. Sometimes it's better to replay without. You look at her face. That's just not one of upset. There's an anger there, like, what have I done? Now watch for a second. Watch the anger. That's anger, okay? That second moment, that one second.
That could be, anger / regret because she didn't testify. I mean, you're going to second guess that. No matter what, if she had testified and been found guilty, she would have been thinking, I shouldn't have testified. So she doesn't testify, she's found guilty, so she's thinking, I should have testified. I mean, you're not going to convince yourself otherwise. That's just human.
But when we play the whole thing, when we look at the whole courtroom, Mr. Zellman, who I liked, okay, I mean, he, I kind of liked him, okay, he had his left arm around her at her back, right? The paralegal was touching her. Who was, and I'm big about this because I watch this, and I know jurors watch it all the time. Jackie Fulford wasn't touching her or consoling her or anything. They're just like this. And that tells me that there was some issues between the two of them, even though they had the relationship. And I do think that at that moment she's saying, oh my God, why did I listen to you? Because, the hands not over here. The hand goes over where Fulford is, right?
Right.
Where Fulford is. So
right.
She's boom. So if you look at that.
To elbow her? You think she's giving her the elbow? I told you.
I think wanted to testify. I mean, I look at that, and it was just a brief second in regard with that, but to me that was really telling. Okay, about
Colorado Yali says, is that how you pronounce that? Yeah. Fulford held her arms down. Okay, so I think I've got some audio for us this time.
Well, that's even
follows
worse.
As the count
Are you hearing that?
of the indictment,
yes.
First-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
Okay. So
if she's holding her arms down, that's even worse. Then that's even worse.
Let's see if we can. I'm just going to do this. See if there's some. Like I said, this is the Zapruder film. Forward, back, forward, back. Let's see where we first see the first reaction. Oh God. Okay. So that's at 7 seconds of 13. Boom. So there's a reaction. And she's saying, "Oh my God!" That's an "Oh my God."
But then she
one of many.
Else. Then when she says something else, when her face goes the other way, then it was when her face gets angry. She says something else, and that's what I tried to make out today, and I couldn't. Here we go. Through up. That's anger. That's anger. Okay.
Yeah, and it sounds almost like
up.
She's pursing her lips, almost like an F or something like that.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Yeah. But that's when her hands go up. I don't think Fulford could be home. But she's up with that. She's angry. Okay. She's bringing her arm up with her cuffs, and she's angry. To me, I mean, that's what it's a mean thing. I know.
She took her hands toward Zellman, or is that full? Oh, that's Fulford right there.
Fulford.
That's
Zellman actually had his one hand on her back, and all. But
yeah, I can
right
see the
next
side
to,
of his coat there.
You know, it's anger. I think that's anger. I think that's, oh my God. But I think then that's anger. That's anger. Oh, look at that.
It's angst. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Who knows what's driving her? But
so
I think most would suggest it's not guilt.
And
sure.
She says something there, and I was trying to learn my AI and run it, but then they take you through all these outside things because she says something different there.
Yeah, you could just see it. It's not an oh my God, although there's a couple more of those. Yeah, it's shorter than that. It's sort of truncated. Let's listen to it again just for fun.
And as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson?
Yeah,
You see the handcuffs on her hand. That's her handcuffs.
Just before she does that, she has her head right like that, and she says something through her teeth.
Right.
Like right there.
Right there. Right, and see the handcuff. You may have that may be Fulford's arms around her, but that's to hold her cuffs. But her hand is up, and she's pissed.
Yeah,
I mean,
and she does move in the direction of Jackie Fulford, who we know at least in the representation to the court that it was Jackie that had the most direct contact with her on the important decision about whether or not to testify.
And I think that she regrets that.
I think she does now, but that's what I'm saying. It's Monday morning quarterbacking to keep our football theme alive here. Of course, if you don't testify and you're found guilty, I should have testified. If you testify and you're found guilty, I shouldn't have testified.
Okay, somebody wants to know where the sound is. We can play it against the sound. We just going back.
We're just going back and forth here and
trying to analyze
frame by frame.
And as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
There's the second, oh my God. So there's something in between. It's like a really or something or right there. She's saying something like really or
I should have. I don't think it was the F word, even though she is.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
I mean, it could be as simple as really. It could be. But
it could be. Why she handcuffed? The interesting question, because usually in a jury they're not handcuffed. But remember, she's in jail. They know there's going to be a verdict.
After the fact, yeah. I mean, obviously, you don't want it to be during the course of the trial. You're going to be prejudiced by, there's no cardigan in the world that could overcome the effect of somebody in cuffs.
Right.
But after the fact, hey, we have a verdict. Okay, because she would be in those cuffs in the back room wherever they have her staged. She's in the cuffs then. They only take them off when they bring her into the courtroom. It's not like she's wandering around the courthouse without being shackled.
Right. So, and then she'd be clanking in, as we always called it. Somebody wanted to know, and it went past by, do I think she's guilty? Yeah, I think I expressed on the air that I thought the prosecution had proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt. All right, and I thought the way they did it was, it was when we listened to Kappelman, and she talked about it, to get all these little details and to tell that story. It was very, very hard, very difficult, because at every trial it kept expanding and expanding because the investigation. And then I really thought that they showed that she was the capo of the family, that she was the Don Gotti, sort of, as I call it, Don Gotti. I've been calling them both because I've been calling her Ma Donna.
So I do also believe she was guilty. I think they proved their case. And this is one guesstimate. She said she's a bitch. Who would she be referencing, though? Sherry Schreiber. Who would she be referencing? Because in and of itself, without context, I don't know where that fits. Who would she be calling that?
Yeah, or something.
I don't know.
Keep going. We also have the audio, which I don't know if you pull it. Just the plain audio. I stripped the video off it.
And I did not pull that out just because I could, probably play it without this picture, and you'll get the same. I can't tell much of anything from that. You really, I felt, needed the visual to match it up with the sound. Okay. That didn't play well on radio. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, except that I was.
That could be. That's that I didn't really think about that. It wasn't. I wasn't thinking Jerry Foreman.
Who was a Jerry Foreman?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But Oasis Cat said maybe Georgia. Well, That's, I guess, if
Oh,
you're going
that's
to target somebody,
probably-
I guess maybe you target the prosecutor.
All right, so while we're talking here, I am going to take my decomposing.
It is
Lipstick.
kind of unsettling. Julia.
Well, let me tell you,
Julia
last year when I was at the
says-
Jets game, I got put on the Jumbotron or whatever you want to call it, the Jets, because I was wearing
Did you?
the Jets green lipstick.
A lot of Jets fans are green just because of the way they play.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so Julia says if it was not guilty, would they immediately take the cuffs off? Yeah, I mean, not like snap like that, but yes, part of the whole process would be, you're free to go. They always have paperwork to process out. It's not like Perry Mason where you walk out the door immediately.
No, sometimes you have to go back to the jail actually to be processed.
Yeah, and then you've got there's paperwork.
There's paperwork.
But it would be as immediate as it could be under the circumstances. Yeah.
Every once in a while, what's happening to my lips? I put on green lipstick.
Now you have white on.
2 reasons. One, because of the Jets are playing, and also, listen, Philadelphia was playing the Cowboys last night, and I had a question after the fact about whether everyone was rushing the men on the jury and the women who were rushing to get that season opener because they knew she was guilty. So why stay the night?
Okay, so let's assume I think it might have been a happy coincidence, but I hope that it wasn't like, come on, folks, kickoff coming, but who are they rooting for? It's a Northern Florida team, a Northern Florida jury, Philadelphia versus Dallas. They're almost exactly in the middle. I think they're hating them all because Tampa Bay Bucs fans or they're Atlanta Falcons fans, probably somewhere in there, or Jacksonville Jaguars fans. So maybe they weren't as concerned. And then the game, I was texting a friend of mine. First of all, there was no San Francisco Giants game. It was Thursday, so I said, okay, I'm just not ready for football just yet because my Giants are still clinging to life. But I said, when did we start having, like rain/lightning delays for football? Football's always been.
We've had them. No, I've seen them.
I just think it just feels like we've gotten a little pedantic over the years.
I've seen it because I think there was an incident where somebody was hurt because of the rain. Is that better? Okay, now I've got the green off.
It's less worse. Yeah.
Well, that's nice of you to say. Thank you, co-host partner. That's like saying Donna Adelson is a good mother.
I think the days of I'm trying to think of even Roman Gabriel is one of the guys that I first started following back then. Lightning, schmeightning. We're playing football here. Snow, rain, sleet, tornadoes, volcanoes. We're playing. I just think we got a little pedantic for football. So they had a delay of almost an hour. It was crazy.
Actually, it was good because I was able to catch up on a lot of different things. I had so many emails. I mean, I was on all day. We were on all day. Remember, I said when I didn't expect the verdict to come. I was walking to the other room carrying my computer. I had taken off all of my this stuff that I have to wear, and I was like, "What?" And I just texted you, Michael, verdict. I saw it. I looked down and someone said, "Where's Linda?" And I'm like, "Where's Linda? Why do they want to know?" I mean, I just left for. It's 5 minutes, we're playing an Oasis Cat song. We're 3 minutes into George's closing. And there we were. 6 minutes later, it was like, okay. All right. So we have the foreperson. Was the foreperson woman? We don't know. Did anyone
I don't know. And I'm surprised we haven't heard anything from jurors, at least I haven't checked in half an hour or so, but I haven't seen anything out there in terms of a juror speaking out. So if anybody hears that, pass that along.
Aaron
what skill is needed for Kaplan's cross history? Oh, that's an interesting question. Aaron Penner has a lot of interesting questions.
She does. She uncapped the fire with the lawyer yesterday. How do you walk the highway? She's a good attorney. She's had a lot of practice, and she said that yesterday at the press conference.
Yeah, she did. And to me, and I've had a witness like that before. It's a gift. You don't really have to do that much, but just be human and exploit their lack of humanity. Just, let them say something that sounds ridiculous and show how convicted they are to that ridiculousness. In this case, I don't understand how people who were involved in family dissolutions could get emotional. I don't know. I mean, how does anybody make that statement with a straight face? So either she believes it, which is sad, or she doesn't believe it and she thinks it helps her client who's hired her as an expert. Both are wrong, dead wrong.
And I think it was a mistake to get somebody who was a friend of the defense.
That was weird too, because she mentioned it right off the top. we both, we practiced for 37 years. I used to work, I think she kind of said I used to work with, right? She used to work with Miss Adamson, Christy Adamson.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, do they have a falling out? Or, why are they not working together anymore? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
But she was so unlikable. In a case where you got plenty of people to dislike, she could have been much better. Let's put it that way. And if she expects to do this again, and who knows what she charged for her work, she's got to clean it up. Or who would hire her? Why would anybody hire this person?
No one's going to hire. And the reason why, too, the other thing that I thought was very class specific, she was equating money with the vehemence in a divorce and a custody fight, which they don't use that word anymore, but I'm going to use it because we all know, we lost Michael. We all know what we're talking about. He'll be back. Don't worry. He remember he took us off the air last week, about 10 days ago, when he hit the wrong button. But she was equating how much money it cost for the vehemence. So if it's only costing X amount, I told you he'd be back. It's just like a bad penny.
Yeah, nice try trying to get rid of me.
That's why I'm back to you. That's why I'm back to you.
That's what normally happens when I'm out in the field with the Starlink. It just kind of hiccups.
He's there again. You're going in and out. You're having a real problem, Michael. You're having a real problem. You're going in and out, and
my audio is going out again.
Yeah, and you're freezing also. Your audio, your video. Maybe you should reboot your computer, and I will answer the questions, and then you can come in, okay? And we can have a discussion. I think you should reboot yourself. Reboot.
Okay, I've sort of rebooted. Can you hear me now or no?
I can hear you, but that's not a reboot. You have to turn your computer off and reboot. You have to turn the computer off and reboot.
Well, what I did was I don't think it's that bad. I think I changed the router.
For you, it's not that bad. For us, it's pretty bad.
No, it's like
that's like the woman with the divorce. Oh, it's not that bad.
Is it emotional? Is it emotional? Can you hear me and see me now? Can you hear and see me now normally?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, I really think it was the router.
That was like Miss Bailey. It was like Miss Bailey. It was like Miss Bailey.
That's a mean thing to say.
It's not that bad. Well, no, because I'm making a comparison.
Yes, I understand. Here. I got you.
She was saying it's not that bad because it was only $30,000 they were spending. So really,
and she talked about one like $800,000, and it's obviously her loyalty has a little higher price tag, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of experts, and I just thought of this, and it was in days past, but remember we had the expert that charged $300 an hour for the cell phone expertise. Remember, young girl? Remember her?
Excuse me, a young woman.
Young female.
A younger female. Woman,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
She, and I wasn't sure. I'd love to talk to jurors about, because you don't normally see an expert, younger. I'd be shocked if she was 30, maybe she's early 30s. But for that type of expertise, it's usually somebody that's, put in a ton of time. And I'm just curious how they reacted to her as an expert.
Yeah, well, I didn't think her hourly rate was that.
Well, what she had to say was not very helpful, in my opinion.
No,
but it wasn't her. It was the material.
Right, it was a material. And she didn't lie about it. She said when she was asked, "Does this include this?" No, I can't get that. She just was very straightforward. But it wasn't helpful. But I guess they didn't have the case on it. Okay, all right. What do you think?
You just get rid of. You keep getting my questions.
I'm sorry. I just saw there was somebody highlighted. So.
Now it's gone. I can't find it. There it is. What do you think the jury talked about? Just how wacky they are? I can't imagine the emotion shared between people who couldn't say WTF. Yeah, I'm sure there was that. Don't you think when they finally got to uncork themselves, as it were, that there were people that were saying, this family is a mess.
Right.
And that's the nicest thing you could say about them.
And they would end with what we always end with. And these poor grandchildren are the victims. Benjamin and Lincoln are the names. They're the victims. No matter what you think of anybody in this family, okay? They've lost their father. They've lost their family. They've got a mother who may be indicted. They've got a grandfather who may be indicted. Their life is a mess. They've got two other grandparents they barely know, the Markells. Whatever happens to them, it's a mess. What has happened to them, what happens to them, it's actually a mess. It's one reason, by the way, that they may let Wendi wait until the kids are 18.
That would be interesting.
As
you know, no statute of limitations on murder, right. So they have that luxury.
I don't know about solicitation though, and the conspiracy. There may be a statute that's coming close on those.
I would, yeah. Maybe it depends on the predicate felony that's connected to. I'd have to do a little research on that.
Yeah. Sui
generis, always. Love this
she's always generous. Love you both. Oh my God, you love Michael too. I can't believe it.
Yeah, Sue used to be all Linda all the time. I've won her over. Wendy's next. They have a secret grand jury. What they need. Here we go. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I believe it's not if, it's when. And in fact, this might be a good entree to watch Georgia Cappleman.
Right, and then we can talk about with the questions you all have is what do we think about whether or not there's going to be further indictments.
Yeah, let me cue her up, find her in my pile of goods. And again, as I mentioned last time, 2 years ago when she came out after Charlie's conviction, you could just, she's just like a normal person who happens to be pretty damn good at her job. But there's a real human element there. And we saw it again with last night's impromptu. This is like right in the hallway, right outside the courtroom door. It's not like there's time to prep or, do any sort of talking points. It's just her and. She was basically saying, don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. And she did this 2 years ago, too, when it was a question about Wendi and Donna. This all she was waiting for somebody to say, so, when's Wendi? And she was, don't do it. Don't ask it.
Nobody's going to do that. Just like in this moment, what was it like to have this defendant be found guilty?
I think I just feel kind of honored to be able to deliver this win for the Markells. We've heard so much about a win for the Adelsons, and everything that was lost in those efforts. So it's just been really cool to be a part of this win.
During one of the pre-trials, you said these trials that have become my life. It's a lot of trials at this point. Talk about what happens when you're a prosecutor and you have to continue to follow cases like this one.
Well, I do have other cases. People don't know that. There are other cases. And I hear about, all of them, but obviously this has become sort of part of my DNA after investing so much blood, sweat, and tears into this case and getting justice. So yeah, it's been an epic battle.
Was this one tougher than Charlie's trial?
I don't know. I'm older, so I think it is. I think everyone is tougher than the last. Yeah, I don't know. More time passes and there's more stuff. There's more phones. There's more records. There's more emails. So it's a lot to organize, and it's a lot of little pieces to try to put together and try to create something cognizable that a jury can follow and get their head around.
In Georgia, opening statements right out of the gate, Jackie Fulford appropriated Professor Markell's nickname, calling him Danny. A lot of people were upset about that. Did that bother you?
Not as much as it bothered some other folks. I understood what she was trying to do. It was not the classiest move, and I think she kind of realized that and seemed to correct that over the course of the trial. But yeah, probably not a great move.
And what about the amount of deliberations? Is roughly the same as Charlie, maybe a few minutes more, but not much. That surprised you because some people were predicting a longer deliberation.
A little bit. I actually lost. I thought it would be slightly shorter, but I was being pretty ambitious. But yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if it had been more difficult for them because it was a large puzzle that kind of had to be put together. But I guess they got what they needed and they knew what they had to do.
Were you surprised?
You are asking me Why are you that guy?
Were you surprised by the defense strategy of throwing Wendi and Charlie under the bus? And was the adoptive admissions ruling something that you pre-planned or something that you all came up with at the last moment?
We had a few incarnations of how to deal with the fact that she had adopted Charlie's really ridiculous story previously, and we didn't want her to be able to distance herself from that and create a new, better defense, which she did seem to kind of try to be doing. So we did want to try to shove that on her and then, try to explain that to the jury. Okay, here's this whole other defense that she already adopted, and it's complicated, and it has all its pushback that goes with it. So it did feel like a difficult minefield to wade through to be able to explain all that to the jury, but we wanted to make sure they understood that, hey, she's already committed to this defense that's a loser, and now she's trying to switch it up and go to this whole other place, and you got to pick a lane and can't be both. So I think that's kind of what we were trying to do, so hopefully we were successful.
It sounded like the new investigation developed a lot of crazy evidence, including y'all were planning to use some phone calls that you were not able to use at the trial. Is the sealing of this evidence going to be unsealed now that Donna has been convicted, or do you know?
I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I don't know.
And you cannot still comment, I guess, about
I think
the
not,
details.
since it's sealed, right? Yeah,
no
it's less
comment
sexy
about-
than you imagine it to be, but I don't think I should comment on it since
Okay.
it's sealed by the court.
How did you feel when you found out that Donna was not going to be testifying? Something tells me you were probably salivating.
I don't know about salivating. Yeah, it's not like I was gonna, wow, you guys with some amazing new stuff or anything, but I did put tons of preparation into that. So I was a little bit sad when I took my binder that had 110 tabs and packed it away. So yeah, I was a little surprised. She seems like somebody that would want to tell her story, but it gets trickier and trickier when all these stories are out there, and she would have had to navigate a lot of stuff to get up there. So I do understand why she made the decision she did, and I think it was a smart one, but I was kind of expecting her to testify.
What was the new evidence that you thought in this trial might have made a difference that what you came across that you introduced?
I think the fleeing to Vietnam didn't hurt, especially since she denied it. She could have just said, yeah, I went to Vietnam. I didn't want to get arrested. But she didn't do that. She oversold, so that was helpful.
And the planners.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? How did you guys find out? Was it an aha moment?
Yeah, kind of dumb luck. I mean, that thing is so dense, and there's a bunch of them. So we've just been sort of perusing them, and somebody just stumbled upon it and had an aha moment.
What about Rob Adelson's testimony? How key was that?
I think it was important, didn't you? I mean, I thought he was so genuine, and what a guy to be able to do that. What a terrible situation for him to be put in, and to be able to rise above that and do the right thing. It's really impressive.
Did you all wait for this trial to put him on? Why did he not testify previously?
I just didn't want to do it to him unless I felt like it was absolutely necessary, and I really felt like we needed him in this one.
George, does Wendi have reason to be worried tonight?
You said that word. That's a bad word.
A bad word.
Worried is a bad word.
The last time.
Should we say stay tuned? Do we need to stay tuned?
Stay
I mean, you can stay tuned.
One other question for me. I mean, your father played football. I understand. It was my first Knowles game, and I take all the credit for the Bama
great
win.
one.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
I take all the credit for
Go
that.
Knowles.
And I found out, maybe through the grapevine, that someone else in your family.
All right, that is Prosecutor George.
So, couple of takeaways from this. First of all, I thought it was interesting that those day planners, those calendars, it's unclear where they were found, who first got them, because she made it sound like it was newly discovered that somebody found them, like maybe going through boxes of stuff that search warrants had turned over, and nobody noticed them before. That's both interesting that they got it at the last minute to use it, but what happened 2 years ago? Because I would have thought they had them then. But anyway.
Unless they got it on the search of the house when they went to Vietnam. And they were
I guess that's possible.
I think that's a possibility. They're rummaging around and they just stumbled upon it. And that's what I think that's what happened here.
Yeah. And then, obviously she was well prepared for Donna. Donna was effectively promised as a witness, by the defense. So she had her 102 tabs marked up for that would have been a day. It would have been a day, would have lengthened the trial a day. That
would have been. We all wanted to see it, though.
Of course, we're that's how would you not? We always want to see the defendant testify. Any defendant, no matter what the case is. This one might have been more interesting than others. But, in the Casotas that we just saw, how entertaining was that to see that guy testify?
Poor Doug Weinstein in that case. But Georgia was asked about that, and she even said she thought it was the right decision.
Of course. And I think any attorney would make that representation, right. And despite what she would have enjoyed doing professionally.
Right.
And then the Charlie didn't testify, and she discussed that in the context of that's the story, right? And first that was the extortion story, which Donna had adopted and then kind of came off of. So it would have put them in a weird position strategically, the defense, to have the Charlie reinforcing the story on the stand and Donna almost contradicting it, at least not all in on it. So that's probably why Charlie never took the stand.
Yeah, that obviously. Madeira Beach caregiver. Hi, Madeira Beach.
Caregiver.
Go watch Dark Comedy and the Dan Markell murder on Paper Bear. What's Paper Bear? I'm not familiar with it, Madeira Beach. You always give us some interesting information. Madeira Beach, as you know, is our hospice nurse. I'm glad I took my decomposing lipstick off. Oh my God, I know. Yeah, what are you gonna do with me? I know. Penny B. I just had to post this, Penny. Ms. Linda and handsome Michael. So you're getting a compliment, Michael.
Wow, thank you.
The Adelsons are so well off. Why do you think that Donna did not retain more competent attorney? Well, I'm not sure they were that well off anymore. I mean, they've got a lot of trials to pay for. It looks like they have the Charlie's. They were giving 2 years of support payments to Charlie. I'm not sure they're that well off. And I do think that Zellner is competent. I think that he was hamstrung a little in the way that when I'm on the team, we always work like clockwork. The teams, we all work together. Everybody, we every team I've ever been on, just like clockwork in those courtrooms. But I think that maybe she thought that maybe Miss Fulford had some juice. I don't know. I mean,
she's been on both sides of the well. And I don't know. I keep circling back to my same thought that they weren't cohesive, and you referenced working together like clockwork. That there was just nobody knew who was running the ship. Who's the captain? Because even if you're 51%, 49%, somebody needs to be the one in charge, the one that makes the final decision. And I got the sense that wasn't happening here, that it was just 50-50, and it caused the clunkiness.
And Donna wasn't helping. She'd probably, look, attorneys have a hard job, and we don't know how difficult the client she was. And I assume
I can guess.
I can guess.
Not
Fashion
a dream
Friday.
client, no.
Yeah, Fashion Friday, Miss Jessica and B. Linda, you need a red blazer for the verdict watch that says justice served in rhinestones. Oh, very good.
I'm going to continue to wear my plaid green when we're on Justice Watch. I put that away for just those days. So if you want to match that up with your red blazer,
we can look like a Christmas tree together.
Very nice look. We can only use that during Christmas verdicts. Where did I put that? There we go. What's the story with Wendy's immunity deal? We've talked about this so much because it is kind of confusing. Anytime the state subpoenas you, you have limited immunity. It's called use immunity and derivative immunity. Nothing you say on the stand and nothing you say that directly relates to something else that might be incriminated can be used against you. It's not transactional, in which anything you say for any crime of any kind would be protected. Right. It's very specific, and it's not just like she got a gift. Anytime the state subpoenas you. Now, the fact is, most of the time when the state subpoenas somebody, they don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
But it just so happens she's in the mix with the Adelson clan, because why? As the Adelsons turn on one another. And so it's a unique situation, but not the fact that the state gave her a subpoena and that they gave her the immunity that connected to it. That's normal. It just, in this case, had a very deep implications. And we'll see, because what I think is going on is Georgia has lots of stuff in lots of boxes that she purposely did not ask Wendi Adelson about, because as soon as Wendi Adelson talked about whatever that was, that would be off limits.
Yeah.
So she's keeping the stuff, close to her vest. Do they still do that? And it'll come out when and if they move against Wendi, and they need to make sure it's not something Wendi talked about in the trial.
It's really interesting to be on the sidebar with the use immunity. You know that in some states, in many jurisdictions, it only applies to that county that you're testifying in.
It's interesting.
Okay, and the judge will tell you that, but you're getting that immunity for that county. So you just have to be careful that it doesn't anything else. Of course, it doesn't apply to transactional, but and of course, it doesn't apply to federal either. When you get a use immunity from the state, that does not protect you from the feds coming in and doing something. Just so everybody knows.
And we, on a more say front page news story, a little Epstein story, that issue has been working its way up through the courts to the Supreme Court, because you'll recall in 2008 the sweetheart deal that Alex Acosta gave him in Florida for the charges of sexual assault and other crimes against minor girls. They carved out an immunity for him and co-conspirators, named and unnamed, right? Well, now in New York, charges there for Ghislaine Maxwell, they've tried from the very beginning to rely on that immunity in New York. And the question becomes, well, you got immunity in South Florida, that district of the federal court. Can we use it in the federal court? So far, it's been no.
No, right.
But you need, the Supreme Court may have to weigh in on that.
I think they're going to weigh in and say no, because I think, well, it depends on what he was told, but usually it's the person who gets up there who's told that, okay, and they have to then testify. They're forced to testify because of the subpoena. So it's just really interesting. I did not know this little fact. Teresa T. Harvey's currently suing one of Charlie's business partners in real estate as Charlie's power of attorney. I didn't know that. Very interesting. Yeah, thank you for that information. We're gonna.
Did they have? I guess they had, like a lot of folks do. Real estate's a good investment, so I'm guessing they had a little side thing going on with real estate.
Yeah, a little side thing going on, and then can you talk about Fulford asking if something was after the bump during the closing? Yeah, we can. We talked about it yesterday too, because there was a break, if you recall. There was an unscheduled break. Somebody had to pee. Let's put it bluntly, okay?
I wasn't in there for the hand raising, so okay. you're giving Fulford way too much credit. I think she just had a brain fart and said, "Okay, can we take a little break, Judge?" Because that's how it played out. She asked the court to take a break. It wasn't the judge looking at the jury saying, "Oh, looks like we need a break." It was Fulford saying, "Judge, can we take a break?" And I thought it was one of her usual, "Let's go back and talk to my co-counsel before I wrap this thing up." But I don't know. It played out so that people could go to the bathroom. That worked out fine.
The judge told everybody to go to the bathroom.
Yes,
right?
yeah, it was a break and said go and
she was big on. He was big on that.
Miss Adelson, no full bladders in my court, and so Adelson, you may go to Miss Adelson if you need to go. And so it happened. So then she has the with Zellman, comes back to do her full-throated finish. And she barely gets into a question, right? Barely starts a question and realizes she doesn't know in time and space where it happened. So what does she do?
She says, she turns to Zellman and she says, "Was that before the bump or after the bump?" And I think it was a transcript. It was one of the wires. "Was that before the bump or after the bump?" I mean, talk about not knowing your case right after you had a break.
I mean, I expect most of the jurors were answering the question for her, because they knew.
Yeah, because the reason, if you do have that all of a sudden, because it does happen when you're trying a case, those things you just can't remember. You just say, "Excuse me a second, Judge." You walk over to your counsel. "Was this before the bump or after the bump?" And then you go back so that people don't know how stupid you are.
You don't just belt it out. You do not just, "Excuse me, incompetent. Just a moment. Hey, when was that? I got nothing."
What case is this? Who's on trial? Who's on first? Kim P, by the way, wants to thank us for the great coverage of this trial. I learned so much from you all. We hope to teach. I know we do it with a little bit of fun sometimes, and like we don't do like other. We're not straight news people. We're trying to give you our personality, because even when you try a case, by the way, the trial team is a very serious case. Let me tell you, when you go back to the rooms, the war rooms and all. I mean, it's not so serious all the time. People, become themselves and all. And
it's so tense. You need a little release. That's why there are moments in the courtroom that, on their face may seem inappropriate because there's a little giggling or whatever. And, if you want to step back and say, "This is a murder trial. What is wrong with you?" But it's that pent up tension, and you're looking for anything to just kind of, cut through that.
Right. Absolutely. So but it was the timing of it was not particularly. You're right. I think the jurors probably answered the question.
They're like, I can even see if maybe they're like, like trying to help her. Brother.
Yeah, and we didn't pull it out, but we did see Donna rolling her eyes when Georgia Kappelman said that Rob was, he was decent and, a good member of the family, whatever, a decent person, basically. And we did see that.
She did the eye roll then, did she?
The eye roll, you tell that she, that she was not happy with Rob, the good son's Charlie, the one who's in jail, right? And she actually, and people ask us, why are you saying as the Adelsons turn on one another? Because she was putting Wendi under the bus. She was throwing Wendi under the bus. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course,
let's face it.
Of course. Yeah. Both kids, right. to make mom look better.
Right.
Yeah. What a wacky family that is.
Yeah.
What
a it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. She's had a marriage with Harvey for 54 years, which gets into the question that people want to ask us. First of our opinion, we told you we believe she's guilty. I came to the conclusion earlier because not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before when Michael Bryant was down there. Remember, he was there for almost the whole week. All right, because I think I knew about the bump, right? Although I didn't know about the 5 bumps. I mean, I didn't realize, I thought the 1 bump. And so I was inputting that in my mind. Okay, all right, she's going to find her guilty. When the bump testimony came on that Thursday, you then converted to, I think the prosecution.
Yeah, I was waiting to kind of see their whole hand, as you poker people say. And so, they rested on that Friday, and that was most of their case. So, and of course, it ended with the snitches on Friday and the script, which was a new element that I think really sealed it for a lot of folks.
And that was Janet, when we had Janet Misdemeanor on, that was what sealed it for her, was the script. So
the foreperson has spoken out. I did not know that.
We have to Google that, okay? Somebody Google it, tell us what they are.
Let's see if we can find it.
Michael's going to take a look at it. Someone also asked whether or not you prepare your clients. No, yes, you do prepare your clients to tell them what's going to happen if there's a guilty. You have to, especially if they're out on bail already. Yeah, you have to. A good attorney does all that. I mean, and that's why I don't want to make fun of defense attorneys. They have a hard job. We have a hard job. I'm a defense attorney, right? I was a former prosecutor. And we're going to talk about a case that's going to occur in a county that I was the former prosecutor in, that we are going to go full-throated. Is that what Alan Jackson says?
That's what I've heard.
Coverage, we'll talk about it, but we'll tell you that towards the end of the show.
Okay, let's see. Let me read what I've got here and see if I can see if there's any video, see if it was just an interview. A woman on the 12-person jury. Let's see. She's the 5th person. They had a name. I thought I saw a name here, but it's a woman, which was what I thought it would. I thought it might be my note taker.
Yeah.
But I don't see enough info yet to confirm. I will continue to look at this. If anybody else sees,
what do they say? What does the person say?
I'm looking. Oh, this is a Tallahassee Democrat. It just hit the paywall. What is wrong with you people?
You hit the payroll.
I hit the paywall. Yeah,
the paywall.
I immediately click away from anybody that's trying to charge me for an article. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we do this for free. We're, if you join as a member, that's a different story, but you don't have to. It's all free, and some say worth every penny. Let's see if I got something here. Yeah, I guess it was Tallahassee Democrat that got the interview, so they are trying to stick people for the.
Yeah.
So I don't have that at the moment. I do not have that.
All right, the jury foreperson, Michael would recognize her. Apparently, Missy says.
J.C. Maxon Walker.
Yeah,
J.C. Maxon Walker.
Lacey Maxon Walker.
Oh, they say I see J.C. on this.
You see J.C. I think it could be Lacey, but do you see her picture there? Do you see her picture?
I don't see a picture. I don't.
Right,
I see a picture of.
All right, Missy sent it
Donna.
to you. Missy
you sent it to me. Is it in the private chat?
I am going to send it to you, actually, to your text. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The headline here just has a picture of Donna, but it does have the name. Okay. Let me see what we got. Survey says. No, that's not my secretary. And we're confirmed that's who it is. This is the one.
That's what Missy tells us.
She would have been in the back row, I believe. She could have been in the front row, second from the left, because there were a couple of blondes. And so this is out there, right? So if I show this,
it's out there. Yeah.
So there were a couple of folks that I think that could be, because this is about all I see of them. It's about that, they come and go, but otherwise it's mostly just the waist up.
Yeah.
And it's not who I thought it was going to be.
And by the way, their names are on them in Florida. We don't like to keep promoting it. It is JC, the JC Maxon. Isn't it? Somebody said Lacey. Yeah. Lacey with an age. Anyhow, it's Maxim. That's who it was. And sorry, it's JC. Okay, it's JC. All right. So there's a PDF of the article in our chat. Missy sent a PDF of the actual article in our chat. Okay, so that's really good. And we've already invited her, by the way, just so you all know. We have sent her an invitation, both on her TikTok and her LinkedIn. So for hopefully that she'll see that we've been covering the trial fairly and well, and then she'll love to come. She'll love to come. Missy, you may have to put that in private chat because I can't find that article. I'm looking at everybody is there, and if you PDF'd it, there's so many questions, but everyone wants to know whether or not we think that that there's going to be an indictment either or both of Wendi and Harvey, and if so, who's first? Okay, there's the article.
There's somebody who's paid there through the paywall. Thank God.
Thank you very much for letting us use this.
Okay, can we enlarge it a little bit for those of us with?
Oh, I don't. That's her.
See, now that says Lacey.
Yeah, that's what I thought. One said Lacey,
but
and maybe
the article clearly says JC. But look let me point this out. Look how young she is, right? I told you this was very young.
Everybody is young.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'd say she's not 30. What do you think?
I can't tell.
Yeah, I'd say she's not 30. And there are only two on my list that I would put in that category of 20s. I think she's definitely in her 20s.
Yeah, and I think that's it's an interesting thing how they try to play Donna up as the grandparents, but I'm sure her grandparents aren't like that. Okay.
I don't know too many people whose grandparents are like that. Yes.
Yeah. So
let's go back to the article if we can.
Let's go back to the article. You have it. You have total control.
I don't have it. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. And blah, blah, blah. That's more background on the story. See, this does say JC. Why she has her own page that says Lacey, I don't know. Identified herself as the foreperson, said she led the deliberations and delivered the unanimous verdict. Now the trial is over. I'm free to talk about all of this, she said on the video. So she posted a video. My mind is just absolutely blown. If you have questions, let me know because I can finally talk. Well, there you go. And Missy's all over this. So if we can get her, we'll get her.
Yeah, and she said, and she labeled her the matriarch mastermind, and that's exactly what Georgia did for that whole first, really 3-4 days of that trial to show that she was the mastermind. Really, I mean, it was actually the whole first 2 days was that she's a mastermind. She's John, John the Don Gotti. I mean, of her family, and she controls everything, and that's exactly how we've been talking about this case.
Here's the evidence that convinced her. Okay,
all right, let's go. Let's look. Let's read.
Honestly, there was so much. She's a smart woman, which is why she avoided being convicted for 11 years. I'll answer vaguely, but I may need to do a separate video talking about this if enough people are interested. Oh, yeah, there might be one or two. Moving on, Rob's testimony, telling, all of her code, telling, all of her emails, text, calls, indicating how power hungry she was. She meant it when she said that Daniel Markell wasn't going to beat the Adelson family. The script, from Drina, if she were to be a witness for Donna, and the script for Wendi, that she wanted her to testify on it in Charlie's trial. That's interesting. The extortion story is very cleverly very clearly bull. As the foreperson, the final point I brought up that cleared up some confusion. She really sounds like she took charge. I'd like to hear from some other jurors to see if they concur. Confusion from the other jurors was the wiretap video of Charlie and Catherine at Dolce Vita. Yeah, what a mess. Sweater Vest did the best he could, especially the part toward the beginning when Charlie said, my mom hasn't told my dad anything. He would lose it, or whatever he said exactly. He wasn't talking about the bump. It was about the murder. There's no denying that. So is there more? She got more? Another question. Did the defense ever convince you she might be innocent? When they mentioned that there's evidence that the state's Donna thought her son was being extorted just 2 months after the murder, I questioned myself, like maybe I missed something. But we talked about it and confirmed that it was not in evidence. It was part of Charlie's testimony. So that sparked a little, but it ended up not being bearing any weight. That makes it sound like if Charlie had testified, they might have been more interested in that.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Had the jury heard anything about the case prior to sitting in on the trial? While she acknowledged posting on TikTok during the trial, when the court was not in session, she said she never sought out or bumped into stories about the case. Not a single
personal things, right?
Yes, not a single member of on the jury knew anything about this case. That's so hard to believe. Before being selected to serve on the jury, did the jury find divorce lawyer Linda, not this Linda, Bailey's testimony offensive as she denied the contentiousness of the Adelson-Markell divorce? Yes, I believe all of us had something to say about that. The way she kept avoiding answering the questions from Georgia Kappelman, the prosecutor, really ticked me off. Like,
look at how she calls Ms. Kappelman Georgia.
Yes,
first name. She feels comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's what she came off as. That's such a gift. Really ticked me off. Like, $80K isn't a lot to who? You, the one who's a super lawyer. I kept saying, every time I mentioned her name, I said, she did graduate with honors. You may remember she graduated with honors. And has been for the last 37 years, Miss Ma'am. Do you think Wendi Adelson is involved? I agree that she was part of this in some way, shape, or form. She insulated herself from the co-conspirators way too well. She plays dumb, the coquettish little one, so well. Looking at the evidence, testimony from her brother Rob and her ex-boyfriend Jeff, I think she provided info to the other conspirators to try and set Jeff up to keep her family out of the light. I think the state is going to do everything they can to charge her with something. I just wish we knew when. Yeah,
exclamation point.
Get in line. I know she's panicking after the verdict was delivered last night. I think they have enough evidence to convict Wendi for accessory, possibly even conspiracy. But they haven't done it yet because they needed her to testify in Donna's trial first. It's a domino effect. I even believe they should be able to convict Harvey for accessory. He knew and didn't do anything about it. He just went along with Donna and kept quiet. Neither Wendi nor Harvey, her father, has been implicated in Markell's death. So that's very insightful, and it sounds like a younger person, she definitely had a grasp on the key issues in the case and wasn't buying the, as she called it, bull. Oh, there's another question.
Yeah, there's more. Okay.
How did the jury come to such a quick decision? We went over everything several times because this is a big decision, and this is serious. We all took our jury duty very seriously. Like, this isn't just fun and games. It is someone's life, and it's the law, and we all took it very seriously. At about the 3-hour mark, once we got moving and grooving, we voted several different times in several different ways. People were still talking, just, sharing their thoughts with each other about the case and whatever. I was passing out pieces of paper for everyone to write their final verdict down. Then I emptied one of the little containers we had for our snacks and had everyone put it in there. I did this because I want people to write down what they honestly feel and think based on the evidence and the law provided, and without feeling pressured to go along with what everyone else is saying. All 12 pieces of paper said guilty.
Wow, what a great foreperson she was.
It was such a wild experience. So she didn't have a straw poll, right?
No,
when they first got in there, they jumped into it, and not until they were at it for 3 hours did they actually vote.
What a great foreperson.
Yeah.
What a great foreperson.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's the question I have, all right, for all of you in the chat, all right? Let's assume, because Harvey's name, I didn't think he had anything to do with it, but then during this trial, he got mentioned a lot, and he drove with the Madonna to bring the money, and obviously it was his money. And they had that little powwow at the pool where maybe that's when, everything came out that this is in some way happened, or maybe he just said dad were being extorted, right? In some way. But I think in this case, it's the first time they've indicated that maybe he knew after the fact something, right? It's possible. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because everyone is innocent, and he's not indicted or anything of that sort. He's there, and he's 81, and he doesn't have much longer in life to live. Does the state play hardball? Do they indict him for something related to this, and then go to Wendi and say, the dad's next. Do you want to make a deal? All right. Because if I'm the prosecutor, that's the pressure I have on Wendi. If you have put Wendi, there's no way Harvey's ever going to turn on Wendi. But could Wendi want to save her dad
My gut says no. My gut says this woman has cut herself off from everybody that has arguably done something to help her, Charlie and her mom. Cut them off.
Well, that's what her mom said. Her mom said she's protected you. He protected you this whole time.
She's been the beneficiary of this act, and she cut them both off at the knees. You don't think she'd do the same thing to the good old dad?
Oh, well, I'm just saying that's I throw out the question.
And I also think, as to the charges against Harvey that may be pending, I haven't seen anything yet. Of course, before this trial, we hadn't seen much of anything at all. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen anything yet that ties him to the act or the conspiracy. But certainly an accessory after the fact to help protect his family. I see that. I see that with the meeting at the pool. I see that with the whatever involvement he had with the money, which is still a little cloudy. I see a lot of that, but I see nothing that puts him in the initial conspiracy or solicitation.
Interesting. People point out they did see that Wendi kissed Harvey when she left, and it's you think about it. I mean, you talk about people that are at risk here. He's 81. He is alone, right? His wife of 54 years has been in jail. Well, maybe now he's happy about that when he sees all that's come out. I'm sorry.
It's like, oh, dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, so you don't know. I mean, all we can say is that he hasn't been charged as far as we know. We don't know if he's one of the uncharged co-conspirators. We have no idea. We don't know who is.
If I were Georgia hearing this feedback, I'd feel so good about how I read this case. And if I was the defense, I would think, maybe we screwed up by not having Charlie on.
Yeah, maybe we screwed up because Charlie would give that story.
Yeah,
and
it seemed to intrigue them, but then it just kind of didn't have any meat, so they set it aside.
Right, because there was no evidence about it. There was no testimony. Right, it was just like a hint. It was a hint in the script that Drina had. And they wanted to know more about it, but and that's why Georgia, I think, said this was a very difficult case and that's why she gave that long closing to piece everything together, which I think she did brilliantly. But that she said, look, she's getting older and she's gotten more into this case, and every single case is more evidence. But I think the bump is really what sealed this deal for Donna. I'm not sure she was charged before that.
That combined with that the Jinx phone call, I will call it, the open line,
right,
where she's plotting her escape.
Right. That was over the top. That was it, right? That was the over the top.
And we also hear in that same conversation how Wendi has totally cut them off. Even though everybody's done everything for her. So a lot in that phone call, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, someone legal-minded friends, Karen Cole, points out that Garcia would know the paper he was given had the license plate. Right. We don't know. The only people that would know what's on that plate, it could be Luis Rivera too, but apparently not. But apparently it's Sigfredo Garcia who knows what was on that paper, because Luis did turn and did offer Queen for a day and did give them 3 pieces of evidence they did not have. He was and all. And I'm sure that Sigfredo at this point is not going to squeal. He's not going to squeal. He's not going to be a snitch.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to butcher this name, Malriadob. Yes, they should arrest Wendi and Harvey, but I do think Wendi would turn on Harvey. I think more likely than not, that's definitely the way it would go. If she thought she could extricate herself, be there for the kids, right?
Right.
And Sheila's saying,
"Hi, Sheila, without the mug. Do you don't have the mug yet? I know. Is it milk still sitting?
It's in the box. It's in the box right there."
For those of you who don't know, Sheila was one of the earliest winners, along with Brooklyn, of our very special mugs, Where in the World is Justice? And she's in Ireland. We tried to send it to her, and it kept coming back. And then they wanted something like, $1,000 or something? Well, I mean, it was some ridiculous amount.
I'm basically committing to flying over there and handing it to her. That's the plan. I think she was in Northern Ireland. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not trying to dox her. But when I was over there last time, about a year ago, I didn't get to the north. So it could happen.
Yeah, so we still have your mug.
Sheila, you've been warned. Yeah. Just knock on the door. Sheila, take this damn mug.
It's hard to get to visit Donna. I know she's on suicide watch. Not usually when someone's on suicide watch, you don't normally get that visitation. I don't know how they do it then.
Yes.
How Kenney, we don't know if she's still there. Right?
Self-harm. Yeah. Just make sure she doesn't
do any self-harm, right, to herself. And he's got to worry about it. And by the way, Oasis Cat got us the article link. Thank you, Oasis.
Thank you, Oasis Cat. She is she or he is nonstop.
Yeah, Sheila's in the south of Ireland. Yeah, Sheila's in the south of Ireland.
Oh, she's in the south? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Somebody was I thought somebody was.
I don't
in our
know.
group was in the north.
At some
Okay.
point, maybe you should
If
give.
I get that close, I'm going to her house. I am. Yeah, that's such a great country too.
Oh my God.
Golf and beer. How can I go wrong? It's great.
What other questions do you all have? Because I know.
We're kind of running long, huh? Sorry.
I know. I'm sorry. We thought we'd be quick, but we did the tape. We did the.
We didn't do the Markell's post. Is anybody interested?
Does anyone want to hear the parents of Dan Markell again, who were just wonderful? I thought
this was out in the hallway, so this was not a repeat of their the victim impact statements.
I think we should give them that. Yes, and I think we should give them that dignity.
It's not a lot. It's very interesting, and the daughter is there as well. Shelley, right? Shelley. The daughter is also there. So, and obviously that's. I don't know if I think she's a half sister to Dan Markell. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what it is. Anyway, let me see if I can pull that up for you here. Okay.
And boy, where's the parents? Oh.
And I have a lot of people to thank. The prosecution, the law enforcement, they've hung in with us from day one. And like I said, the Tallahassee is known for football. I think it's better known for prosecution and law enforcement skills and high standards of delivery of an excellent, excellent practice. Tonight, we have a lot of people to be grateful for. I've often said my life is full of two words, trauma and gifts. Tonight, I'll talk about, I said the trauma inside. The loss of Danny Markell is a great loss for all of us. And the gifts are all the people who have supported us, our allies from FSU University, the Tallahassee community, and all of you in the media, of which we've had tremendous support. Social media, podcasters, print, and all other aspects of helping us produce and deliver this very important communication. So thank you. We are grateful.
Ruth, you mentioned the Markell Act in your comments, and I know so many people are wondering, will the Markell family be able to enjoy the protections of the Markell Act that is named for Dan?
Well, the Markell Act actually has, it's specific to, just to answer the question very specifically, it's part of having a civil or a criminal offense against the spouse of a person who has been deceased. We have had access because of the Markell Act. So as it was passed, it opened up. Wendy had invited us to the bar mitzvahs. We had a little bit of an opportunity to have communications and some visits, but they're highly choreographed. It's not a natural process. We're looking for when we can communicate via email, via phone. We have everything is done still through Wendy's devices, let's call it, and timeframes. So we're looking for a more natural opportunity.
Ms. Markell, do you believe that everyone who participated in this crime has been held accountable?
I'll let other people in my family talk about that.
Okay.
Well, first of all, just one little side thing. We were originally invited to the first bar mitzvah, and then we were disinvited from it. So just to clarify.
Yes.
My comments. First of all, I'm very, very grateful to the jury. They were very attentive. I watched them carefully. They listened. They obviously analyzed and came to a just decision. We're grateful to the judge for his patience and his guidance and that everybody followed the law, etc. We're grateful to all of you guys here. I can't begin to tell you. I always, to me, journalists were never, they're into just post stuff in the papers, TV or whatever. But you guys have really, really, it's been 11 years. You supported us. And because of you, this case never went cold. And I can't believe people stop me when I'm in Dillard's or I'm in the wine store or in a restaurant. My claim to fame, unfortunately, is I'm Dan's dad. But it's so heartwarming to see this community, the people, and because of you around the world, there aren't enough words to tell you how grateful we all are. This is, even though it's a joyful or unhappy decision that's come out, it's still very, very difficult. And we still don't have the full access to the boys that we'd love to have. They're very, very controlled, very short, and very far and few between. And it's, we just want anybody and everybody who had anything to do with Dan's death brought to justice. And until that day happens, I will not be fully happy individual.
Phil, one of the, I think it's safe to say, one of the star witnesses in this trial was Rob Adelson. What was it like for you to watch him up there testifying for the government?
Rob Adelson and I have, we actually haven't seen each other for a long time, but we do communicate via text, telephone, etc. He is an incredible individual. How this guy happened to come out of this family is beyond my understanding.
I think we respect his bravery and his courage in doing what he did, and we really, will be very honored to see him and connect with him, but in particular, we really respect his courage.
And Phil or Shelley can answer this. Did this one feel different? You had the hitmen who were prosecuted, you had McManawa, but now father to mother-in-law. There's a different kind of relationship between those two. To see her there getting found guilty, what was that like?
I'd have to think of how to answer that question. It's hard. Each one is very gratifying, obviously.
Leave your mother alone. Come here.
Happy with the results. This one hurts, I think, a little more because of who it is. I made a very short little speech, but I think what I did differently this time is the harm to families, not just only ours, but to everybody involved in this mess. And so many children without parents, without uncles, aunts, cousins, etc. It's so hard to understand. She was an educated individual. She was a kindergarten teacher. Where did this come from? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure this out.
I was just going to add that there is a certain satisfaction in this verdict, despite the fact that anyone going to jail is a hard thing to imagine, and obviously hard to, it's emotional, but I would say there's satisfaction in this verdict, and I would say that we're hopeful, really hopeful, that this will open the door for the future generations to, connect, for the cousins to connect, for, rebuilding a relationship with my nephews, my grandchildren, my children's cousins. This is, we hope that this will shed light. This will be the sort of element of truth that will be there for them to see. It'll be on the record for those kids to know in the future, and we would, welcome the opportunity to reconnect.
Shelley, what do you think Dan would say today watching his parents up there giving such eloquent, amazing victim impact statements, particularly Phil's last question?
I think he'd be really proud. Danny was one to do presentations. He was the, really amazing writer in our family, and I think his parents, would have made him very proud.
One question, what were the thoughts that went through your mind as you saw the defense strategy develop to kind of embrace the evidence against the daughter and the son? A mother, in essence, throwing their kids under the bus and acting as a prosecutor for the defense attorneys and calling them Markell Danny and all this stuff that they tried to embrace the evidence and pretend that they cared so much about what happened
Maybe those are better questions for the state's attorney.
Yeah, but I think the defense had to do their job, and I think that we have really looked at all the sides of the story, and thank you again. Thank you
I'd say
all.
we're very lucky that the state's attorneys and their team did such an amazing job in all of that. So thank you, everybody.
Police, just everybody. We're really grateful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Yeah, some good folks. I was lucky enough to meet them, and sorry I wasn't there for. Well, hold on.
I'm muted. No, really.
There we go.
Really good folks. I mean, I just, their strength and courage, and they're in their 80s also, and they still, even though they're divorced, they stay together as a family for this. Oasis Cat said, Ruth Markell, she mentioned this, the unveiling of mother's reflection on murder, grief, and the trial life. And then now there's another trial, this one, right?
And there was mixed info from the gang. One saying Shelley was not a half sister, and one saying she was. So I thought she was, but I don't have perfect knowledge on that. Anyway, she was there, and she was there almost every day. I don't think she was there every single day, but almost every day. You heard him talk about the Markell Act,
right?
Which is very interesting. It was just passed last year, June in 2024. It creates a rebuttable presumption for the grandparents, like the Markells, but only in a circumstance where one parent kills the other. So,
interesting.
If Wendi is convicted, the Markell Act would trigger, and what it would mean is the Markells could go into court to get some sort of visitation, and there's a presumption that they should. Somebody would have to come in and try and rebut that presumption with, "Hey, they're no good nicks for whatever reason, and they shouldn't get visitation." So it's nuanced, it's something, but it's a very specific. One parent killing another.
Wow. Not like grandparent visitation rights that we have in some states. Wow. All right. I think we've covered all of the questions, and everyone had a little bit of withdrawal yesterday because the verdict was so late, and we have reached out, as I said, to the jury foreperson. I know we're going to reach out to the Markells. I know Missy's going to do that. We're going to reach out to the prosecutors because Justice Serve TV has been on this case, and we made the commitment to be down there last week. You were there all week talking to people.
Yeah, I was kind of sad I wasn't there for the big finish, but that's the way it happens. You never know. But it was nice to get to meet the folks that were down there, and I love just doing stuff in Florida because it's just so open. I mean, those folks were standing in the hallway 5 feet from the ante room that goes right into the courtroom, and it was 8 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock when it happened.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah,
it ain't no Massachusetts.
No, that's for sure. Okay. And I love the judge, even though I think that he should have given her time to make up her mind when we were to overnight to testify, just to avoid any issue.
We'll see.
And I thought that should have been happened. And, when she's crying at the end, get hold of yourself, Mrs. Markell. I mean,
that's what I mean.
She's crying for herself. It happens.
I just think it's unrealistic to think that somebody, for whatever reason, they are now, being hit with the weight of this conviction, that they're going to just be stoic. For the room. I just think that's unrealistic. So we'll see. There's going to be an appeal, always an appeal, probably automatic in Florida, as it is in most places when there's a not even a death sentence, but a life sentence without parole.
And I think the fact that they came back the second day and she seemed not to, reach that topic again may have helped them. May not help her on her appeal. The court may just say, "Hey, there's too much evidence. It wouldn't have helped you. You got to testify."
And they didn't even ask.
Goodbye. And they didn't. And they didn't ask. Right. The next morning they should have asked.
You're right. If I were her counsel, I would have said, "Just ask. Just get it on the record." Him saying, "We've talked about this before," and no. Yeah. All righty then. So I'm
what do we have coming?
I don't know. I'm exhausted.
Well, first of all, we do have a rip and read before we go.
We do have a rip and read.
Hold on. Before we go, and I'll tell you what we have coming up.
Yeah, normally we do that at the beginning, but I've lost my. Okay, this speaking of Massachusetts and Norfolk County, we mentioned a couple of days ago that the final bill was in for how much the Karen Reed 2 trial cost, and it was $1.4 million, 600 and some going to Hank Brannon. I've kind of lost my Hank Brannon. I haven't done it in a while. So he gets $600K. What's it called? Aperture. They got 500 plus.
Almost 600. Almost
Yeah.
600 also. Aperture,
But
blue face.
the new thing is, the rip and read for today is Michael Morrissey. Some call him Meatball. He's the DA for the county there. He was spending money. You'll love this. Spending money to spy on the jurors' social media accounts. He was hiring people to scour their social media. I mean, it's just blatant, flagrant, out of control up there.
Yeah, they're totally out of control up there. So, what do we have coming up? Well, obviously Monday, 6 o'clock. We'll see what's. We'll talk with Missy and Michael and I. We'll see what you all want to see for our show next week. But we are going to, within a week or so, about 10 days, we're going to start JSTV The Hunt. That's probably going to be taped. We are going to put up the case of who killed Stephanie, and I will give you her last name. Then I actually have talked to Cheryl McCollum about it before she left for CrimeCon. We were at CrimeCon last year. We just have too much work. We couldn't go this year, especially since it's out in Aurora. The timing didn't fit right after Labor Day weekend. And this trial, we think, was much more important for us to be with you at this trial. But we will have that on. We will post a secure Google link with all the documents for all of you to read. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that case. And then we're going to go on to that. On the Justice Served TV The Hunt, we'll talk about the Karina Holmer case in Boston, Massachusetts. Some of the same players, even though it was 1968. Both these cases are in the 60s, interestingly enough. We want to do a show, and we're talking about how we do it, and we want all of your input, because last week when we mentioned Drina and her addiction, our whole chat went pretty wild about everyone who knows people that have problems with addiction or have had problems with addiction.
It was amazing to see how many folks chimed in with personal experience or friends or relatives. Yeah.
And then we want to do that. So if you have recommendations, we'd love to have all of you on. If you want a round table, have a bunch of you on our show. We'd like to have an addiction specialist. We'd like to see what's going on, what's the new ways to treat addiction and all, and how we deal with it. So we want your input on this before we put together what we think will be maybe a large tape show or 2 or 3, and then a series of 1 week. So please put together that. We've already gotten emails on the show that people want for abuse, on abuse, that we've been talking about for a year. But the problem is that we've been so busy with these trials, we haven't been able to get. When we do something, we want to make sure it has the gravitas and the importance that we promise you that you're used to seeing from us, even though a lot of times we'll give you some humor too. Okay.
And as we come up on our 1-year anniversary, we're looking at things. We're going to do the book club. I think we're going to do the true crime book club. So keep that in mind. And there was one other thing. Oh, we're going to do some private members episodes, where we will, expound upon something else that we have either talked about in the broader episode, but drill down a little bit more, or maybe it'll be a totally different case. Maybe it'll be some of the stuff we do for the hunt. Right. But we really want our members to know we appreciate them. We love all our subscribers. We love everybody that takes the time to tune in. But if you're a member, we want to, go that extra mile, as it were.
And Missy says we can post on YouTube community page for member suggestions, or you can email us at as many people have done, at Justice Served TV at google.com, right? Gmail.com, google.com.
Google may be a thing. I don't know.
At gmail.com.
So we got a busy time coming up. Our 1-year anniversary just around the corner. Right. And I forgot, the Walsh case has some things going on this month. Aiden Carney has a hearing on the 24th. We'll be at that.
And then, or one of us will be, because one of us may have to be someplace else for that week. But we'll talk about that. We do have lives and clients and things. And then in January, there's a case out of New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl, but Court TV and Law and Crime have been covering. It's called the Canero case. Caneiro. In 2018, Mr. Kenney, who was in business with his brother, was charged with killing his brother, basically executing them, the brother's wife, the 2 daughters, their daughters, and then setting their mansion on fire in a very exclusive area, Cold Neck, New Jersey, which is next to the capital of the county, Freehold, New Jersey, which is where the courthouse is. And then trying to cover up his tracks, according to the police, by setting fire to his house in Ocean Township, New Jersey. So it's a Monmouth County case. I'm a Monmouth County girl. I was a prosecutor in Monmouth County. I actually once had to sue the prosecutor in Monmouth County for an investigator after I had left for defamation, a case which I won. I've talked about that and how I cross-examined the prosecutor there. And so we're going to be covering that because it's wild. Everyone's going to be covering it. But I'm the Jersey girl. I'm from Monmouth County. My roots are there. And so
we're going to take advantage of that is what you're getting at. Yeah.
Take advantage of it. So one of the things that happened is that we're supposed to start jury selection this week with the assignment judge for the criminal division having the case. And there was an issue that the New Jersey Supreme Court just took certification on because the trial judge had quashed or squashed, as some people say, but the word is squashed, the subpoenas, had quashed the evidence about coming in with regard to a camera and in the garage, which may have shown that the person on trial did actually set the fires, all right? Because they didn't have a warrant. Sound familiar? Familiar? And the question became, though, that the Supreme Court just took certification on is, does the existence of the fire give the police the right to have exigent circumstances to see whether there's anybody inside the house and any evidence inside the house that may help with regard to, what happened to the person inside the house, who happens to be this defendant. So the trial has now been delayed. If they have oral argument on that, because they have taken it, which usually New Jersey does. New Jersey also has a great streaming. They have been streaming things for years. The New Jersey Supreme Court, when they have argument, we will stream it. We may go there, but more likely we'll probably stream it because you don't see anything different than when you go there. It's just the next case on. It's like an appellate argument, and we're going to probably cover that trial. I know we're going to cover that trial if there is a trial. January, I think 5th or 6th. January 5th. January 5th.
Penciled in for the 5th. Yeah.
So that sounds another horrific family death case. You can Google it right now, and you'll find a lot of articles on it. But what you didn't know was the fact that there's likely, from me, is that there will likely be oral argument on that certification petition, and it's a taking certification. So they may decide it, they may dismiss it, and once they get into it, say it was improvidently granted. But we're going to be there, and we're going to be covering it, and I'm just telling you some inside information, only because I practice. The inside information is that the New Jersey Supreme Court will be streaming that argument if it happens, because that's what they do.
Very good. Okay, well, try and relax over the weekend. Everybody enjoy.
No, I got to go to a game.
Yeah, but that's relaxing. That ain't work. Although sometimes as a Jets fan, it is probably like work. But anyway, everybody have a good time. We will circle back with you on Monday, but make sure you tell people to do something. Before you go, I'm going to give you time, okay? All right. This is a competition now. Please hit that subscribe button because that's really important for us. All right. The like, the share, and the notify. And the reason why the like is important and the share is because the more of you who subscribe, like, and share, then YouTube in their algorithm, which no one knows, says, this channel may have something to offer. And comments. That's another thing that really triggers the overlords. The overlords like the comments. More comments. You get off here, go talk among yourselves. So as soon as this is posted, comments. All right. And then they push us out. And when they push us out, more people get to see us. And we've noticed that there's a lot more people in the chat, that all of you seem to have developed this great family of Justice Served TV. But we can't keep doing it unless you support us. So, and we're not asking you for money. We're just asking you to hit that subscribe, like, share, notify button. All righty. Let's do that. Okay. Until then, this is Justice Served TV. Try to do the right thing.
Baden flames, they charge